Hello and welcome. My name is Trismegistus, and I need to just tweak my mic as it's in shot. Hello and welcome. My name is Trismegistus, and today we are going to be continuing Factorio. I got quite carried away with Factorio after last week's stream, and I built Blue Science basically. Now, Blue Science is not the most complicated build in how I've set all of this up. Let me just get all my pages aligned so that we are ready to see if anyone's chatting. Cool. Yes, I got a bit carried away. I'm literally stood next to it so I can show you what it is, and I can also explain this as well. But this is it here. Oh, have I got? I've still got the lasers on. I got the lasers on because what I kind of I was getting to the point where I was like, I just want to crack on and do purple and gold and stuff. And I had to kind of find a displacement activity. So that displacement activity was going out and clearing biters and finding our next resource patches. Because although we have plenty of resources of basically everything, you know, we've got lots of copper and iron and what have you, they're all basically like 4 stops. So in a sense, we only have, you know, 13 iron ore stops, and as it works out, 27. They're based on the drop-offs, so you can already see. So you got like a 2-to-1 disparity. So if all of these start going, you know, so if we look at the stations rather, so if all of the iron plate stations, where's iron plate pickup? Here we go. So I've got 12 pickups, you see, and then there's 21 pickups, so that's not a bad ratio actually. But the basic point is, I mean, these will not fill up as quick as these demand once it all gets, you know, fully up to speed, because that's just always how it is basically. The mining, particularly given I've not got all the productivity mining, you know, all the productivities on the go. We've not done any science in ages. Basically means that I know from experience those will basically run out. So potentially we will need more stations, not because we need the resources, but because we need more places to pick up, basically. So I went out and identified. You can see we're getting into really like heavy biter territory. We're getting into that every world becomes a death world type of thing. I did go out in kind of all directions, and we found some interesting sort of geographical features. Although this isn't an island in any sense, it does have some really interesting choke points on it. Like this, I sort of assumed this would keep going, but it's like, you know, it's got a river crossing on it. So our only connection to this whole landmass, apart from where I put it in, is like this thing here, because this is separate. I mean, obviously, it probably loops back around as one thing, but yeah. So it's been quite interesting seeing what the terrain gen has done with the land settings as well, because that's not connected there. We're ending up with quite a few small islands, and I'm actually thinking of putting white science down there in a sort of thematic way, that you know, maybe that white science is partly about studying the biters, you know, and so this, what I believe is an island down here, might be a good place for that. Which means I've switched this. This was going to be white science here, but now I'm going to make the satellites there, and we'll come back to that. Yeah, and similarly here, we've got this like tiny little choke point between us and this whole sort of area here. And then this is the bit that's more sort of normal. And these are the patches that we would potentially target. It would mean a lot of biter clearance, which I'm not proposing to do on stream. Because it's all desert, you see, as well, so they're going to get a lot of pollution spread. So that was what I kind of did as a displacement activity, was all that. I managed to lose some spidertrons, so through some negligence, basically. What they've done, one of the a little bug fix they did, was that these now show the colours. So I had some. Well, they also, when you hover over them, you can actually see which spidertrons it's talking about, which is really cool. These are just shortcuts now, because obviously the actual remotes are not a proper thing. It doesn't take you to them. You still have to use good old, whatever it's called, pinning. But these, I kind of stopped because, as I say, I lost a bunch of spidertrons, the battle ones, because I sent them off basically into the middle of one of the massive nests without, just left them to it, as it were. And you usually have to be a bit more careful with them than that. And so we lost them all. So these guys, I mean, that one's probably full, but oh right, so they probably, yeah, okay, so they have stocked up now. But I had to expand rocket production because it was just not, and I put speed modules in and all sorts. So it now has capacity. Should I do that again? to kind of recover quickly. Yeah, that's my guy. It was purple, but I've turned him to match me. And then what are you lot doing? You're just sat there knocking around, I think, aren't you? Yeah, so what we can do with them, we'll probably do purple first. So let's get them over there. It feels like there was something else I did as well, building-wise. I think I did put in some more, like, steel production? I don't know where, though. I'm not sure if I'd bumped that up already to the newer design. Where's the extra steel production? There it is. So we now have more steel. We don't really have the demand for steel, but it's particularly when you get to purple, it's ramps up. So the blue science then. What I've done with this one is go with more heavy sharing of beacons. So these are not double-sided beacons. So they're only getting the effect of 4 rather than 8, because with blue science, you've got to put a lot more ingredients in. Relatively. If you had speed modules, you're like increasing the amount that you need to deliver. So effectively, you end up more parallelized. You get more. You can't do longer builds because your belts just sort of run out of stuff basically, or you need to restock them. And so I've just gone with the 4, and it means there's a lot more machines, but that's fine. It's not a problem for us. And obviously, nothing is being made. Everything these need, I have stations that are supplying it, which is one of the reasons I did it, because it's just fairly boring. Deliver the stuff and off you go. I've gone with 1 stop for each. We probably, when it's fully going, we might need more. Sulfur could be a bit problematic because the way I've done this, this is actually supplying quite a lot of stuff, particularly if we do like a lot of biter clearance. That's going to use a lot of explosives. So I could end up, robbing Peter to pay Paul, and it won't sustain, but we'll have to see. So yeah, so that's kind of everything I've done. Obviously built these in preparation. To explain this part, what I'm intending to do is that each one, like we did with the red and the green, the green, where it builds other stuff. It builds the useful things that it's most relevant to build. So green science uses, yellow inserters and yellow belts, level 1 of each. So it also then makes the other inserters and the other belts. Now these guys, obviously that's less like that, but thematically the production science is about production things. So it's trains and it's furnaces. So we're going to build all of the trainy bits and all of the sort of manufacturing buildings at purple. Basically, that's the idea. So what I then did is I worked out, well, what does that mean in terms of drop-offs? How many stations do I need delivering each type? And so that's what these are here. This is basically saying we've got 9 things we need to drop off in order to make purple and the rest. Yeah. And so the same with gold. Gold will be focused on, it's the high-tech side. So you've got the bots. We do logistics. Obviously, didn't templated in all of the chests, but roboports, chests just from a practicality point of view because they're right there, and then obviously the the robot flying robot frames are the thing that we've got to make for gold and for them. So that's why it's linked between them. Again, that's one we've got to make for both. So that's sort of where that thematic idea is coming from. This requires us to drop off 8 different things. And the purple one is the output. So obviously purple is what we're putting on a train. But it was just so I didn't forget, because that's 8. So that means, that's 2 4s. Well, actually, I need to do a pickup as well. This one is like then, in a sense, everything else, but I want to do satellites, by dropping off these via train. So I kind of figured, well, let's make a power one. So it's doing all of the power stuff, and that's there. I haven't prepped that, obviously. I doubt we'll get to this today. And then this one, although it's only a few things, it's like my thought was all the super high tech stuff. So the, like the circuit conditions, and then all of the rockets, because satellites are a high tech thing. The labs, stick all of them together. Beacons, because I kind of forgot that we've got a module factory, I haven't got a bacon factory. That then requires us to drop off 14 things and obviously pick up your satellites as well. So I just realised that should... Oh no, it's 2 things because these 2 are the pickups. And that's it. There is no science being made there yet. So this is the plan. What we therefore need to do, unless I've done it already, is copy and paste this in so that I know what I'm meant to be building over here. Let's put it... let's tuck it out the way. I'll put it that way around. Oh, we've got a parameter. Oh, of course the parameter is... Yeah, because I'm just using that. If I put a 1 in, a signal... that's one thing that I didn't realise until sort of messing about with some of the stuff. The parameters can be signals as well. And I'm wondering if I can make use of that somehow. I'm not entirely sure how. Let's send you lads up, see if you'll be at that. Yeah, cool. Okay, so let's hop in. I both kind of really like the fact that the, whatchamacallit, the, so when this does, because it's the rail world settings, it doesn't have expansion for biters, right? And I kind of both really like that from the point of view of, it sort of means there's less pressure. But unless you're hitting them with pollution, I forget about the biters and that all goes away. Which, I don't know, one of the things I quite like about the base game is that, what will we be picking up? Purple, isn't it? Yeah. One of the things I like about the base game is that you do get that pressure, that now we need to sort, go and deal with some biters. And you've got to build defences. I miss not building proper defences. I really like doing that. So yeah, so I think if I was to do these settings again, I'd probably turn expansion back on as a little tweak. I'm thinking about making the purple in this sort of area here. It might be better if I did it in that direction, downwards, because I may need to add in extra stations here. And if I build the purple, no, it's not going to. So long as it fits in that area, it'll be fine, won't it? Okay, so let's bring the power over. Is that max? Yeah. Okay, and get rid of these guys. Like so, let's bring. Where are you? That you lot over. Billion trees. Okay, so if we were to say, I've been trying to leave, what I usually do with these is try and leave some tiles of gap, because you always inevitably find there's one thing you've forgotten to include, basically. Right, so I mean the purple obviously has the kind of advantage that it makes 3 up. Let's have a look. Let's do some sort of mathing. So where's that? It's there, isn't it? Forgetting 3. So if we put that there, if we did that there. I didn't open my spreadsheet. That implies I'm using a single one. I'm doing the maths via spreadsheet just because I really like this thing of telling you how much it's making. You know, each second. It sort of because that's what I always use the calculators for, because it's too much maths basically. You know, because there you've got 4 things, you see, and you've got to do the maths to do all of the productivity and all that sort of stuff. So doing that for you means I'm using the calculators less. Oh, not at all. In fact, I haven't used it yet. Okay, so the trick with these is always the rail, because the rail is always far easier to put in directly. If we just put one there, so we know that it's, excuse me, max bacons. We can't put prods in it, can we? No, we can put speeds in it. Okay. The problem, let's just say, is we're gonna need to make. So if we had to do this, we would need. We're gonna need the drop off for the prod 1. I've not actually built that in, have I? No, so we don't have the pickup yet for level 1 prod modules. Okay, let's put that in. That would be pickup. We're gonna for prod 1 modules, but we're not gonna belt them. We're gonna wait, that's wrong. Request them. We can take that off. How many do we want to request? They stack to 50, don't they? So if we've got 4, do we need 200? Because that's so 50, 100, 200 would be no. So we would need. Do we need 1,000 in each? Wow. I guess I could add more on. That's not difficult with that. Okay. And the train. On there. And it's. Well, actually, we could build both. We could do the purple production. And. Where are you? The prod 1 modules. Call EO. It's actually about. So, one thing I'd completely forgotten, because we only just had our last bank holiday. It's bank holiday Monday. Or this Monday is a bank holiday. I could stream, but I think I'm going to work on some of the videos. I've been a bit in the zone for making them just recently. So we would need to make. Excuse me. We need to make furnaces, but we need to make them anyway. It's the point of this factory. If that was just making its own ones, then it's not even. Oh, but it's not got the numbers on because it's not. In fact, let's put that in here as well, so I can look at what speeds and what have you on it. So, you would if we were able to get 13 steel in it, entire yellow belt. Then it would make 1.3. So that would then cover several of them. That would be, in fact, I'm going to start. I'm going to open a spreadsheet. So. So, numbers on this are 1.16, 1.16 prods. This is with the max beacons, which I don't think will do. 8.28 rail. 0.27 prod 1. We'll probably have to increase that build capacity. And 0.27 as well. Furnaces. You obviously can't see this, you have to take it on trust. So, if we want to get... So it's producing 1.16 a second, isn't it? And we want 2,400 divided by 60. It's 2,400 a minute, which is 40. So we would need 34, so probably 35 or 36. Let's use 36 as our number. So we would then need, let's multiply by 36. We would need to supply 300 rail a minute. A second, rather. Which, considering this belt only does 30, is 10 red belts of rail. So that's going to have to be direct insertion, because that's just insane. We'd also need to supply 10 prod 1s, which is only a yellow belt, and 10 furnaces, which is 1 yellow. Okay, now our factory, so this is ever so slightly overbuilt. There it is, for prod 1s, but not by much. So in other words, a prod 2 there requires 0.41 prod 1s, and it's hooked in to these, which are doing, so that one's exclusively supplying it, and that one is exclusively supplying it. So those are doing 0.2 and 0.2, 0.4, and then it's got half of one of these machines, so that's 0.2. So it's getting 0.5 are being made, it only needs 0.41, and that happens 4 times. So the gap is 0.09, and that happens 4 times, let's say. So 0.09, 09, and that happens 4 times. I currently have 2 builds. 2 proddy 2 builds. So 0.72 is all I'm making as extra prod 1s. Okay. There's not a lot, is it? I thought there was more spare capacity than that, but there really is not. Okay. So basically we would need to bump this up to 9 a second. We would need an extra 9 a second, almost exactly. Which, given these are doing 0.2, so we've got 2, 4, 6, 8. So one of these without any extras. So if I build another one, and then I might just copy paste this. I've got it as a blueprint, but if I just sort of copy paste it, put that there. That's the efficiencies. I do like that. And then pop it down, but I'll have to then copy this whole thing. Like that. But then we get rid of that one. Get rid of that bit. That is a level 2, isn't it? I don't think it needs, like, blue circuits at all here, does it? But we shall see. Get rid of that part. Better off doing a deconstructor. And then this is the level 2 bit. They are taking from there, aren't they? Yeah. And that's wrapping around. And that, what is going on? So that's, that one's not needed. That's probably, yeah, that's like a half blue. Red. I mean, we'll trace it back, it almost certainly won't, you know, I won't be making enough of all sorts of things. I think that needs, I need to sort of, what point is that? That supplies. Don't think I need this bit unless I add more. Because that would be for the next set, yeah. So yeah, that should supply. Don't need to insert all the prod ones we need. Okay, this is based on the. If we, if I just sort of copy paste that, it shouldn't change the total. I don't think it just changes the number of machines. So, oops, if I go here. I'll do that. What happens? It becomes, should basically halve, I think. So it should go, so that should be 0.85, and then it becomes 6.07, 0.2 and 0.2. 0.07, 0.2, 0.2. What happened there? So that becomes 48 machines. Oh, because it's not linear, is it? With the, I was thinking, why is it not halved? And it's not halved because it's not a linear relationship with the beacons anymore. Okay, that's fine. But that takes us down to 220 rail, which is 8 red belts. So again, that's going to have to be direct insertion, but it's only 7.2 prod module 2, prod module 1, so that's half a yellow, which is nice. And the furnace is obviously 7.2 as well, so that's half a yellow. So we could put both of those onto one yellow belt, basically, and or import, you know, a yellow belt's worth. So we can have this dropping off prod module 1s and take them out. In fact, shall we build that in? We might as well build that in. So we will go like that. Oops. Just want the one. Prod module 1s, please. So that's the nice easy one. But yeah, a single rail like this makes 20. So that could, in theory, I guess, supply 3 machines. So it's making 20. It's an awful lot of stuff to get out and in, because you also need the 10 rods, so we've got to make them as well. So if it had speeds in it, let's just max speed it for now. And then I'm just wondering if I can get it to do 4, but we then need to supply an entire yellow belt for just one machine of stone and an entire yellow belt. Yeah. How about if I was to do this, say, in the middle? So that was there on its own, without any separate, you know, bacon going on. And it gets a bit more reasonable. It's still pretty nuts. This is why I ramped up that steel build, even though we're not currently using it. But that'll make 15. This requires 6. So we would not need to actually supply it with that much, because these would only demand 6 or 12. You know, if there's 2 of them. So it could run at sort of, in fact, could probably, yeah, there we go, perfect. Okay, so if it was something like that, and then say this was a, well, what would that need to be? That's 0.21. Okay. And we realised it was, and again, probably easier if we take this out. It's here somewhere. And then it's got its own things. So 0.75 like that. And you're requiring 0.2. So 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. That's a bit annoying, isn't it? So it won't quite do 3, is the point. So if we need 48 machines, or it won't quite do 4, it could do 0.75, 2, 4, 0.6. Yeah, if we're belching them though, and we need 7.2. 0.75. We need 10, like that. So we need 10 of them. This is where purple and gold just go nuts in terms of resource demand. So that we would then have all of everything that we need for that. So numerically this works. So this is fine. Now we probably need to be rearranging it a bit. But since we're doing one row of beacons, in fact we can't do. We could yeah, we could share them though, couldn't we? So actually, if I do put, where's the bottom of that? Not there. How far does that reach? Okay. Remove that to there. Don't fit, you see. But we don't necessarily need this. We do if we're gonna. Okay, so we can't have those there basically. So. Okay. Because we need room to put a belt down. If we're going to direct insert, we need that to be like that. And that needs to be there. And then that needs to be there. So we can belt up there. How are we outputting? These need rods as well, don't they? So we do need to offset. Unless I make the rods and bolt them up, we could have basically 3. So if I... This is too low down, isn't it? Needs to be there. Yeah. So we could... Oops. How many does that give me? 24. So that's like half. The tricky part with that is that I don't really have anywhere to insert anything into these guys now. But since we're not really benefiting from... How many would they need? They need to move 12 and a half... sorry. 6. Oh no, it's 0.7. Oh no, that's because it's not powered. It's 6. So if we were to stick them in a box, basically, and move it over. So they go like that. Yeah? And that gets us all of this room here, so we can then put some stuff up these sides here. We could even do something up there, potentially. And depending on how we did it, that could then become the output. Okay. How much... it needs its power, otherwise it won't tell us the number. Which is a point. How are we getting power in? That wouldn't reach. And we can't put them there anyway. So it's something like that. Then 6.25, 6.25. Because I've got 8 machines. So if I'm trying to put in 6.25 into 8 machines, I need 50, which is 2 red belts basically. So that's not going to work. But we can just halve it. So if we just do half of this and make it more like parallel. I could always bring them over, you know, do them over the top maybe. So what's half? So we've got 8, 4, and it'd be those ones. So we go there. Where's that row of beacons? There it is. There. That's why I copy and paste that bit. This is what I was saying about staying within there. I think we'll be okay. So that gets me. I need 48 in total. So that's 48. Okay. You don't reach, do you? No. So this one. Is a redundant one. Why aren't my Spidertrons helping? Come on, Spidertrons, do your thing. Okay. So then we only need to supply 4 machines at once. Which is 25, which is 1 red belt. So we need to supply this with a red belt of stone, a red belt of steel, and a red belt of sticks. Okay. Red belt of stone, red belt of steel, red belt of sticks. So that would mean 3, because these still have an input requirement, but it is a yellow belt, so we could do some weaving. But also, I've got two sides. So we could go... Got two sides, but not the power poles to do anything. That was there. What would that need to look like? So if we had... Could do three... Well, we couldn't because we need to put that in there if we're going to do it this way. Well, if that was the hop over. So that gets it the railway. We then need a yellow belt somewhere. That has those two on. We could do that as, say, we're weaving. Other alternative is as I use that one. Well, we need to use that one anyway. I mean, this obviously needs to go through. Pass through as well. But we have a spare belt there. But what does that get us? What does that achieve for us? We could half and half a belt. How would that work with the power poles? So if that was, say, like that, you see, don't work, does it? Because the power pole's in the way. Wouldn't work on that side. But if that was there, great. But I can't do it on both sides. Then this is quite short, isn't it? Could we do power on the top and the bottom? We could. Okay, so that solves part of that problem. This then could be a half and half. That's not the same, is it? That should be that one. And then that can grab from there, you see. They obviously don't share an ingredient. But I could put one of the... Why would that make any difference? Because this needs... Obviously need to make these. Oops. Run out. Let's see if the Spideys have got some. Yeah, not you. You're a trainee one. Okay. Because I can't put 3 things on that belt, basically. This needs 3 things. This needs 3 things. So, you know, we can have... I mean, that's rubbish. The reach across one. They're very poor input speed, and we need 6.25. We don't. Well, we do, don't we? 6.25. Yeah, I think I'm going to weave. And we'll have we'll fill both of these on both sides. So, how would that best work? We probably need those. I don't think this is going to serve any real purpose, and we could do it anyway, just as a saving on a belt thing. And I'll limit them anyway. So that gets the rail in there. What would be best coming in? So we would have like, let's get some of these on. So if we had, say, stone on that one, and say steel on that one, then these both have access straight away to both of what they need. You can only do, so you can only grab 3 at a time. Don't quite, it can go slightly slower. Yeah, we'll have to try it, but we'll kind of put a load of stick on both of those. Okay, and then we need to do some like reverse. We don't need those anymore, do we? Know? Or do we? I mean, we're going to need to power them. Thinking maybe we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. If I get it in the right place, like that. Doesn't need to exist. So then, if I copy this up, except not quite. Ah, that don't work, does it? It does need to be like that. So actually, that needs to be there because that needs to be. I could. Why don't I do it more like? If that's like that, then these can just hop over nice and simply. Wait. So, copy that. And we'll have H flip it. And then I want to copy that. Pop it there. Cool. Cool. Yeah, we need like a yellow belt coming up, say. How many did they need? They need 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. It's like tiny, isn't it? Not even a belt. So we might as well do the red belt down as their output. Oops. Our input can be the undergroundage. Like so. We could probably do it without weaving, actually. Because we could just like hop over there. But if we're going to embrace cursed techniques for this playthrough, then let's just embrace it. Cool, cool, cool. So that's our output. I can't do it like that. I need to have that coming in. Like so. And then we can just, whoops, pop that to say there. And then, well, I guess I could take it either direction, it doesn't really matter. Might as well blend those two together like that. Okay, and then we want exactly the same thing but flipped there. And yeah, it doesn't really matter quite how we do that, but that's that one. So if I just take that, oh, should be a proper blend in, like a good boy. Cool. So take that. Bit on. There. Make sure. It might be out of modules. Yeah, must be. Okay. Right. Put you back into range. Get a restock. Could actually pop on some rubber ports, couldn't I? Since we've got plenty of room at the top, we might as well. Well, maybe there. And there. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why does that look like it's higher up? Yeah, just my brain not working properly, I think. As per. Cool. Poiple. Okay. I need to do something like that at some point. That's going to be interesting. But what we need to supply here, and we're going to need more stations, as I kind of suspected we would, because we're going to need to be dropping off a lot of steel and stone. So if we grab that, where's the, there it is. Pop that in. There's a starter for 10. I'm wondering about making the iron sticks. How many do we need? We need 4, 8, 12, 16 machines. And they need to supply, well, we've got 16 that demand. They need to supply 6.25 each for each one. So we need to supply 100 iron sticks per second. Okay. If we were to do that, well, I'm going to extend this up. Because what we can do, we can like add more machines effectively. It's makes sense to me. So we go like that. Now we can put prods in these, can't we? Yeah. Because I have this belt going the other way. If it's just iron sticks, it doesn't really matter. How I get the iron up there, though, that's a question. That's a question. So each one of them. So if that's maxed beacon, no, it isn't maxed. Max beacon would get us 24, 8.5 becoming 24. Not sure how we would get all of that out. 8.5 becoming 24. So in theory, 4 machines would do it, but so I'm not sure we can really get that in and out. So if we maybe did this as a smaller build with fewer modules, and then just hope with it. Now, if this, we're going to need to bring up how many. Well, I should start with the steel and stuff, because if I underground, no, not all the way. Okay, fine. If I underground that, does that have a? No, it goes to there. Okay. If I then did say that one. Why have I restricted myself there? Let's do it more like that. So I need to supply again 6.25 steel, 6.25 stone. But there's only 4 machines there, so that's 25. So effectively, each of these needs an entire red belt. 25 is not far off what my design here actually supplies. So we could go... we could drop off steel and steel and stone and stone. I'll worry about like numbers of trains and stuff kind of later. But yeah, we're talking 4 belts. Oh, look, it's delivered the prop modules. That's cool. So if we needed 1... So effectively, if I pop in, say, a 4x4 balancer... Wait. Every time I build one of these, I seem to put the middle ones in a different place. Right, so if this is... that one there, then it's because it's just direct feed, essentially. Right, so if I copy this, oops. Oh yeah, it does weirdness with the things. Because it didn't quite know what to do, basically. With like the gap bits. Have you guys restocked? Have you got... No, you're not in thingy range, are you? Bot's not moving quick enough. Okay. Almost like we should do some bot speed research. I put that on the wrong one. Because that's not going there. That's going there. Oh. Just shot my own factory. Well done. I mean, somebody's got to, so might as well be me. Okay, so we can then copy paste that. And punt it over a bit. Down a bit. And if we leave a little with a gap, I should have left a gap. Yeah, I think we have to pull it up. Down to, there we go. Oops. Oh. That's over there. That. We don't need it on the end. Awesome. Connect that properly. So, oops, that goes to stone. Nice. Stone, stone, stone. Good, good, good. Stone. Awesome. So I copy that. Copy that. Oops. Spider jumped in the way there. Let's just build it all the way across now. Fix it. So you don't need those two. And then these go... Oops. See, this is... I'm gonna rag on or complain about Satisfactory again now. This type of thing, that this is why I'm struggling with that game, basically, because, you know, I've just set up an enormous amount of production, you know, equivalents, basically. So, you know, I'm now bringing in 4 trains of you know, various materials. And that would literally take, or take me anyway, days in Satisfactory. But I've just done it in a few copy and pastes, you know. So that's kind of what I'm struggling with. It's just so manual, that game. Which you know, I guess that's what people love about it. I don't know, but for me, it's just like I don't want to mess about putting in 6 miles of belt. We have very low numbers of. Okay, it's just what's taking a while to bring them. Makes sense. I guess they're all flying back and forth with these tiny number of them. So what I could do is kind of send the... Actually, if we try and keep in all of the lobby range, maybe send them sort of down there. So they're a lot closer and they can kind of stock up. Hello, Polychucker. Welcome, welcome. I find it holds the game back a bit, yeah. Is that... You're talking about Satisfactory. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the stream. I'm not sure if you've chatted before, but welcome, welcome. Harinji? Not sure how to pronounce that. Welcome as well. Hope you're doing well. Never played Satisfactory, but I can imagine that being annoying. Yeah, so, I mean, it does have a blueprinted system. And, you know, but it was never designed with that in mind, and I think that is why I struggle with that blueprinting system, because it's sort of... It was always their intention for you to do everything manually. The other thing, I mean, it's almost more of a balancing problem, I'd say, where it's like, really what they should probably do is we've seen some belts there. Is rebalance the recipes, you know, so it doesn't require a billion million of everything, which is what I thought they were going to do when they went to 1.0, but, you know, I guess people just... The people that played it and loved it, I guess they, you know, they got used to doing that sort of stuff. And, you know, I suppose if you built up and... Because here's the other thing with, you know, for me, why this is, in a sense, better, is that... I mean, obviously I've made a lot of blueprints in my lifetime, but every blueprint I think we're using today, I've, like, built... You know, and I've got loads of blueprints, but I've made all of these in this game. You know, I haven't had to go back to my library of, you know, the best blueprints, designs. It's just simple to make blueprints in this game, you know. You just go boop, boop, and you're done. You know, it's just easier, basically. That's sort of why I've been struggling just recently in that game. I think the thing that broke me with it on this playthrough was putting in the trains, basically, because it was just such a ball ache, basically. It was just so massively annoying putting all those... I really like, you know... Oh, I've not capped those chests. Oh dear, because I didn't do that, did I? But yeah, I spent hours and hours and hours. It was all off stream. I didn't, you know... I wasn't doing it particularly, you know, efficiently, sort of thing. But when I tried to go down in... There's a bit where it's like... where I'm doing a load of coal power in like the coal plants, and it's like in this, you know, what would you call it, like crater, I guess. But yeah, loads of cliffs, and most of my base is on the top, and it goes down to a lake, and it's very pretty. But I just spent ages trying to get all of the rail pieces to line up to my blueprints that I'd done, and because you were going so down. And I think that broke me with it, because it was just like, how do I actually fix this? Particularly since, as someone pointed out, you have to use the blueprint designer, and you might not have the bits to make one of those. If you just want to tweak something, you know, you've got to build an entire machine and power it and da 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 da. It's just so much work, you know. I was talking about such how every build is tedious, compared to Factorio at least. I may be wrong, but it looks like some inserters are backwards and one's going in out of the science assemblers. Ah, what have I done wrong there? So you are absolutely right. That is not right at all. Yeah, okay. So if I, and here you go again, to fix this, I just fix it once, and then I use my new super friend, Mr. Angry Ghost Guy, and just sort of plop him over the top, you know. That. Like that. Let's have a look at the other inserters. That was probably me. I think I did that wrong. Must have been at the beginning. So it wasn't the flip and, you know, that I got wrong. It was the actual initial build. So they are going in. They're going in and they're going out. And the red is the out, isn't it? And the yellow is the in. Okay, yeah. Oh. What was the other thing? Oh, iron plate. So, how much iron plate do we actually need then? Let's. What should we do? If we take this right down that way. Okay. It's quite a nice place for a power pump. So, that's there. And then this one's here. So with it just being prod modules, we would only get 2.79 out. Okay. And a single machine requires 6.25. So, I mean, I could put some speeds in there, couldn't I? What does that do? 10.2. What number am I after? 6.25. So that would then be 13, so 26 there. Maybe if we swap. So 6, 12, 18, 24. It's still quite a lot of machines, isn't it? So maybe if we just do a lower beacon build. So what would that look more like? So if we could do... less... what do we get up to then? 21. That's probably a bit much. 17. Okay. So what's 2 on each one? I wonder if we could maybe do something. Do that and then... so that maximum runs there. Where do you reach down to? You go to there, okay. Oops. So I'll just put that on there for reference. Oh, run out of prod modules now. Where did my Spidertrons go? You ran away, did you, chaps? Have you been stocked up? Kinda. Except not. You're not in the login? You are in the login network, surely. Have we not got any prod 3s? Logistics storage 0. Oh, there's no blue circuits. Well, okay. What's happened there then? There's loads of blue sockets there. Is this a train issue? We only have one? Certainly got one, and it's waiting at a drop-off station. Okay. How many blue drop-offs have we got? We got 2. Okay. So we need a second train. Right, marvellous. What are you? You must be the purple science train. Let's get another one of them. Yeah, okay. So not got any Prod 3 modules. Marvellous. I could just go and steal them out of here for the purposes of being able to do some research. I imagine there's probably a couple in one of the Spidertrons. But... So that would get us then. So they're doing 17.6. So 6 machines. So 17.6. 6 of them. That would get us some number. 105.6. So it's more we need. What we need is 4 at 6.25. You can't see this. I'm messing about with the spreadsheet. Maybe I should do a screen share version. We only need 25. So these together would actually supply all of the sticks we need. But we would need to supply 6, 12, 18... Actually, so it's a red belt of iron plate like there, and one like there. Output-wise then, if you're putting out 17... Wow. So they're only 6, 8... And it's 12, isn't it? So if we did a janky kind of outputty balancey thing like that, and that would get us 6. We could take that down to 4. Oh no, well we could do 6 to 8 actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then it's kind of spread evenly around. Okay. So these are our kind of numbers. Still need to make them kind of numbers now. What does it need to look like as a build? Probably flip it round. Oh yes, a problem like this in Factorio would be Alt F1. Yeah. Is the empty slot on rail crafters just because you don't need a 4th? Yes, basically yes. The module. So it's just a maths thing. Basically, this machine is only supplying these 2. And although I've got chest there, it's effectively direct insertion. I mean, it's not quite, but it's just sort of sticking them straight in, and a 4th one of these, because you can't put prods in, because these are a end product. I don't know what it technically calls them, but you can't put prod modules in, and 3 gets us 12.5, and they're demanding. Why does that say 7? Oh, because I took the prod modules off. They're demanding 6.07, so 2 machines is 12.14, and that's making 12.5. So what it means is we don't. It will ever so slightly, ever so often not run at speed, but then we've got a long-handed inserter there which will have a reduced capacity. Basically, it won't quite be able to do it, although we're doing it on 2 sides. So hopefully we should be able to hit 6 a second, hopefully. So yeah, it's just literally a maths thing, basically. One of your maths things. So if we bring in 2 belts of iron plate, don't quite need to be 2, does it? Let's power it up and check. Because I could use just 1 train. Oh no, it's more than that, isn't it? So 6, 12, 18... So 36... Oh no, that's... yeah. Yeah, we could do one iron plate train. We will need more than this because we're going to make other things here. But for the purposes of this, we can do one those. And we should upgrade these blueprints. And then, so this will be our 2 lanes of iron plate coming in. And then output-wise, so I'm thinking of doing super janky nonsense. We'll put that like that. Then we'll be able to do so you would be doing 70. Yeah, so that'll work. This needs to be further up, doesn't it? If we're going to supply those. So how about we do something like 1, 2, 3, like that maybe? How many are you going to need? 6? We'll be able to get away with one of them then. I'll copy that on the other side. Coal. And then if we take those up there. And this is, so I'm going to 6 to 8 balance this, and this is, you know, example of a blueprint I carry forward. These are not my blueprints, these are ones I just downloaded. That one there. Ah! That's annoying. Maybe if I flip it. There we go. And I'm 1 tile off, aren't I? Should be there. So we go like that. I do have blue belts, but I'm kind of trying to build this on a red belt factory and just use them very, very sparingly. Have we started making modules again? We certainly have blue chips on the belts. Good, good, good. Ah, these limits probably need increasing, don't they? Where am I setting the limit there? So that needs to be like 1,000. It's like these are, I put efficiencies in. I probably should put efficiencies in like the spare gap there, but you know that, well, it's got the 3. If we stick an efficiency in, save a little bit of power. A little bit of power. Get that away. That looks horrible, doesn't it? But with it being offset. Oh well. Get a robo portal. Several in. Okay. Right. That needs to be there. I think. So we just copy that down. Oops. I don't think it's a relevant one. That. Oops. Okay. Oops. Possible oh, I didn't see that comment. Sorry about that. Possible controversial opinion. I don't like using trains in this game. Oh, wow. Okay. Belts all the way then, is it? I don't know about controversial. But it is unusual. I would definitely say that much. Any reason for that? Well, I should leave that in case I've messed something up somewhere. Okay. It's not connected. Are you connected? If we go there, you are. Excuse me. Okay. Going to leave a little bit of a gap, but we want these kind of this way, really. Oops. No. Oh. Yeah. Right. So that will get us those. I've managed to do a real weirdness here, haven't I? In that, I mean, first of that could actually, no, it could. I thought that could move up one. Because we need this to be our furnaces and prod modules, and I've not left a gap to have them go down there. So I'm going to be like passing them down here, which is very weird. Could have put this build here, couldn't I, and like use these free beacons, but oh well. Essentially, even though the train's there, so that I can feed it directly in, I guess I could take this one. Yeah, okay. We could go down here with it, maybe. Wonder if I can move that. No, because it's always going to be slightly there, isn't it? Effectively doesn't make any difference. Okay. Because these only need like 1/4 of one a second. So effectively all of those only need one every second. So just bringing it over and, you know, taking it out, whatchamacallit style. It's a bit janky, but in fact we could always go up to that one, couldn't I? Where's the next one? Over here. Okay. And if I do that, give it a bit of consistency, and I can move that one up like that, and then we can just run that belt across like so. Okay, so I need to replace that on there and move that up one. Oops. That one there, and move that up one. And then this one, I don't have the undergrounds, but we're going to go to there, so that one there, and I guess that, and that. Where am I connecting? I'm connecting it here. I think if I go... No. Oh, wait. And that can just be yellow belt, I guess, couldn't it? Because that's the last one. Oh. 5:30. Okay. Just got a warning when it comes through on that. My headset appears to be running out of power. I wonder if I've got my USB cable. I wonder what it's going to do if I plug both of these in. It's a wireless headset, but I don't really like using the wireless. Hoping this will just power it, but we could end up...
replays of all guys touching barriers. We've got Alonso touching the rear end of his car, the barrier.
That's the Monaco qualifying that, which had a massive delay in it. I moved these streams partly because then I start at 4 o'clock and go till 7, and part of that was so that I could listen to the Grand Prix basically for the European ones in particular, and then like every single time I can't hear the game audio. Why is that? What are you set to now? Because it's connecting. There we go. Yeah, every single one, they've had some kind of delay on the race or the qualifying, so it managed to defeat me. So yeah, it's on pause, and I'll pick it up afterwards. It's getting a bit confusing. So it must be there. Take that up like that. So I got doot doot, and then doot doot, doot doot, doot doot. Cool. Okay. So what we can then do is we can bring these across this way. Is that going to end up being... Let's power it up and see what... 0.75. So 1.53. So this is yellow belt territory, isn't it? We need to put some in a box as well, you see. It's the whole sort of point of this factory is to make other things as well. Do that, and then I guess we could just side load, couldn't we? In fact, if I just bring it up there. Like so. Put them in a box. Put them in a box. Now, is this all correct? We have rods, or sticks, sticky rods. There. And there. So our rail should be good to go. We've got the prod modules. We can check that they are making it to the right place. It's just these guys. This actually needs to be 2 lanes, doesn't it? Yeah, because it's more than 30. Ends up being... forget. that, it ends up being 48. Yes, it's 48. Is that right? I think. Machines, isn't it? Have we got? Yeah. And each one's producing 0.7. Effectively 3/4 of 48 is over a red belt. So, what we could probably do instead is double it up there. And then... So they'd be balanced. We kind of output priority that one, but input priority that one. Because that then... Because that's 1/4 of it there. And that's half of it. So really we want those on the inside. So that's half. Oh look, machines have kicked in. Half there. So we probably want, because that's going on there, so we probably want it doubling up there as well. Just to be super safe. And then this one, we again input output. So we try and fill up this bottom belt. But if not, there's overflow available there. Cool. Boop, boop, boop. Like so. Same again. That's the wrong way around. Like that. Like that. And then we need a second belt here. Okay. How many do we need? So if we've got 0.23, 0.46, 0.7. So effectively every 3 machines we need one of these. And if we got 48, 12, 24, no, it would be 48 over 3. So effectively it would be, well, we got 0.75 coming out. What was it? 0.2. No, that's wrong. Oh, of course that one didn't have 0.2, yeah. 2. So that times 8. 9.6. So we need 13 effectively. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We'll make 14 if we can. What are we going to need here? 7.5, 3 points. So it's 7.5 on both of those. So if we're taking, because we need to be able to make some, you see, to be able to expand our factory, meet the expanding needs of our expanding factory. So it was 7.5 and 3.75. So multiply those two together, and we get 105, or 52.5, obviously, because it's half of it. 105 is 30, 60, 90, 120. So effectively 4 red belts, and 30, 60, 2 red belts. So what we're saying is that we need to deliver 4 more red belts of steel. My expansion was not enough. I wasn't expected to be enough, but I didn't think we'd hit. I thought it would be gold when we sort of hit this limit. But yeah, we need 4 more red belts of steel. Give or take. 4 belts of stone brick. I don't think we're even making that. And 2 belts of red circuits. We are making that, but other things are using them as well. Okay. So that means 2 more. I think we need even more stations. But that if we can make this one the red circuits, because that's an odd one. Where have you gone? There you gone. So that becomes the red circuits. A couple of trains of that. And then I could just copy these across, couldn't I? So we go, because that's that one. Oh. And that one is that one. Damn, it's a lot of steel. So that's our red circuits. These are our steel and stone brick. Spidey's stocked up yet. You managed to get... You have, excellent. Please return. Please return. Return Avu. But it all comes out, it's less, so all of that stuff going in. And it's less than a yellow belt now. Crikey. But I need to deliver. So 7.5 is obviously half of a yellow belt, isn't it? So 2 machines could be supplied by 1 yellow belt, 4 by 1 red belt. So if we were to do half and half that, so if we do like some madness like that, you're going to need to be further down, aren't you? So it needs, what's it? 11.5, 15, 30. So a single red belt for steel. We need, so the red circuits could go on a yellow on the outside because that's like half. And that's that, and then this is the output. Should be there. We might as well say, given we need the, stick them in a box as well. Because that's going to be, so that's the output. And that then is the input. And then that's input as well. Okay. So I got that in the wrong place. So effectively that's that again, isn't it? Only they're not outputting. Okay. So that and that. Do that. So at this point it all starts to feel like I've done something wrong. It just looks insane. So if you're there, blend you in. Okay. What we can do is those could be a storage. That could be a storage chest instead. Because we needed 13, didn't we? So why have I made 16? Just because it looked prettier. But if that's 8, and then that's ever so slightly more than what we need. So that's 18 then. 12. rather, 14. Yeah, so these two are like completely superfluous, so we can use them to be our storage. So we don't want to make infinite of those. So let's connect that to the logistic network and say, I do want it to be quite a big number, because if we ever need to expand, well, when we need to expand, we will need to expand quite a lot. You know, we'll be sticking down big arrays, I think, at some point. So we will put that on 500. Okay. Let's see if we can get some power poles in. Oh! What have I done wrong there? Got my cut and paste in the wrong place. There we go. Actually, let's put it like on the ends again. Let's just do it. That cover. No. Do one there. Let's just do one on every one. So I've been thinking about getting into this game. How do I get started? Any tips? Oh, Snow, welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing okay. Thinking about getting into how do I get started? Any tips? So, it's a fairly trite answer, I'm afraid, but the main tip I would give, and you probably get quite a lot of places, is not to ask for tips. What did you see it jumping back then? I thought they changed that. Yeah, look at that. That's caused by basically it estimates where the bot's going to be, and it's like a lag, basically, because they're running out of charge at that exact point, and the game's going in order to save on like processing. Basically, they did explain it in one of the Friday Facts. But it was in relation to the cars in multiplayer. But basically, it's like predicting where the bot's going to be, and of course, it's predicting it based on full charge, and then somewhere between that calculation it's doing, it actually runs out. Interesting. Anyway, yes, the tip, you probably get in quite a lot of places is not to get tips and to kind of go in blind, because, and I wouldn't say, thank you very much for the follow. Was that? That's very kind. Oh, it must have been on YouTube, was it? Oh. Yes, thank you very much. That's very kind. I can't actually see the pop-up on the notification on YouTube. I need to fix that. Yes, that... And the reason for that, basically, is that a really big fun part of the game, for a lot of players, it's not for everyone, is the actual, like, what I'm doing at the moment, the designing and the working things out and the discovering and all that sort of stuff. So... that may not be for you. So I would say the trouble is the reason for saying that is basically you won't know unless you try, if you see what I mean. If you try and you don't like it, you don't enjoy that part of the game, then you can go on Reddit and hear and what have you and get tips and ask from that point of view. But it's always, I think, best to give it a go yourself. And if you hate it, if you just end up with a complete spaghetti monster that you hate, then, well, first off, that's how everyone starts, but, you can then ask, get download blueprints or whatever, you want to do sort of thing. But you only get to discover the thing once, basically. So I always say it's worth giving it a go. One of the tips I would give, and it's the one you'll also see a lot on Reddit and stuff, is the Alt key, basically. So it's actually down in here. It's not in the default ones at the moment, but there is a thing here to toggle Alt, basically, but it's switched off. But you just literally hit the Alt key, and that shows you the recipes on all the machines, basically. It's not the default, it's off by default, but that lets you basically very easily see what's going on. I wish they'd tweaked, so... I wish it actually showed it as like part of the design of the machine, and particularly like the modules, which are these things here, just sort of shown as pictures. they could have been on the outside. You know, they could have put a little, like they have on the beacon. You know, it's actually got the modules in it, so you can see them even if you've not got alt mode on. And I wish they'd tweak the design on these. I really think these need an update now. It's been so long and they look so out of place with the new graphics. But yes, so the main tip I would give is kind of try and discover it for yourself and sort of go in. But there is a demo, if you're not aware of the game. It's a very generous demo. You can spend hours and hours and hours playing it. It's ages since I even looked at the demo. It used to be a little unrepresentative of what the game is really like, because it's much more directed. And this is the free play mode, and you're not being given missions to do. You have to just decide what you're doing next. And the other things I would say is, if you get to a point where you don't know what to do next, look to the next science, basically. So if you've been working away on red and green science, then your next science is chemical, and it's all in the tech tree. You know, it's all laid out. You know, they are in this order, basically. So you can do red and green. You've got a choice then of blue and military, the grey one, and then your purple and gold. Choice of which you do first, and that leads to your white. So you basically always want to be going, right, I've done a load of, you know, green science techs. What do I do next? Oh, blue science. So you always want to be following the technology from that point of view, because, as I say, it doesn't really give you any kind of, you know, there's no objectives, there's no quests, there's nothing like that. So that's worth bearing in mind as well. Sekai, don't. That's no don't. What happened with your hand? Oh, this is and hello, Snicks, welcome, and Sekai as well. Hello to you. I suffer from carpal tunnel, which is where the tendons, they go through like a hole basically in your wrist, and that becomes inflamed. So what this does is it locks my wrist in place basically. So I also use a vertical mouse. I can't show you because if I lift it up, it'll tear it out the USB port. But because the problem for me is like the twisting of the wrist, and particularly when I play this game and games like it, and in fact it's me overall really. I don't take proper breaks and stuff like that, so I end up basically straining my wrist. So if we go, say, there, yeah, I end up hurting my wrist basically. Select, can that go to, no, that only goes to there. Yes, so it is a kind of a it's not like hard, you know, it's not a, it's a brace, but it's more like it's like having a pressure bandage on basically. So it holds it in place, but not, you know, it's not physically restricting me. Which is the input here? It's that one, isn't it? But yes, welcome all. Hope you're all doing okay. That is the input, isn't it? Yeah. In fact, if we do that. So in this series, it's called Parameterisation. It's vanilla, you know, it's without space age, and that's very deliberate because they introduced a lot of quality of life and other improvements to version 2, and when I did my space age playthrough that I streamed, I didn't really, I had to kind of ignore them in order to get everything done basically, because I wanted to finish. I wanted to do the what's it called? Reach the galaxy's edge for that series, but I had to kind of, I didn't want it to take, you know, months basically. So I kind of skipped things like parameterization. So that the point of this series is to learn that stuff. I have built some parameterized blueprints. I'm not particularly using them at the moment because a lot of this stuff is bespoke, but these are my parameterized blueprints. I'm not entirely happy with them. I think they need a bit of work. Okay, so where are you? Oh, there you go. So for example, this is my parameterized kind of, you know, bot-based maker everything type thing. So if we wanted to make some medium power poles, then it'll order everything in and, you know, put some in the thing. One of the changes I want to make, I usually build with storage chests, filtered storage chests. And I've decided to try passive providers, but I find them a bit annoying because bots will never put into... This is in the wrong place as well, isn't it? Why is that the wrong way around? Because I flipped it? No, it's because that's one tile off for some reason. They never put into passive providers, so we've got a whole load of storage chests here where random junk is being dumped, because if a bot... So when you run out of a bot network, you know, obviously cancels the order for the item. Now, if you go straight back in again, it often redoes the order and the same bot will fulfill it. But if you're out for a while, it cancels the order and the bot then needs to dump the item somewhere. So, for example, we have a whole load of... the grenades are probably a bad example, but for example, we've got lots of laser turrets and all sorts of stuff in these chests. And while that's fine, you know, they'll come and pick stuff up and, you know, out of these chests. I just prefer if they go and put them in the same chest. So I want all my radars to be in the same chest. Not least of all because, you know, I'm putting them on a train so that I can stick them, we can use them for satellites. But yeah, so that's just, what do we call it, like OCD type thing, I'm afraid. So that would need to be there. So we've now got 4 really handy ones, 4 other normal ones. So yeah, so things like that I want to tweak. I want to see if I can build some parameterized, like, bigger builds. Because there are certain recipes where it's like early game, I tend to use this design like that. Whoops. So I can parameterize that. I just put some random things on. But I'd quite like to be able to build bigger ones that are sort of versions of that as well. You know, so it's got like 6 machines on it with beacons. Maybe, or something like that. Because you see how that's got just loads and loads of power poles. But I'm kind of leaving that for now. The real aim of going bigger with this is more around that I want to be able to test the trains I've done. The trains are also parameterized. So that's the output, isn't it? So it doesn't really need to be going past there. And there I've switched it for a chest. Okay. So yeah, so there's a lot of parameterizing stuff to do, but I kind of also ended up deciding. In fact, I don't like that. I also ended up deciding I was going to kind of mega base this, old school mega base, you know. Okay, so this one. Why have I not got anything here? Trains with this stop because they're both at drop-offs. Okay. Fancy. Why are you all... Huh. You're waiting... Why are you doing that? Because I've asked for 3 trains worth of green circuits. Why have I done that? And in fact, why is it not... Hey? Oh, that's plastic. But why are 2 trains trying to drop off here? That looks like something's not connected, doesn't it? Oh, none of it's connected. Huh. Where is that green wire going? Going to there? No? Is there a green wire there? Or is that an optical illusion? That looks like a green wire connected to that chest, but if I try and connect it, it adds it on? Maybe those are wired together, aren't they? Oh, those are wired together, okay. So it's requesting 3 green chests, or 3 trains worth, because none of it's hooked up. And it's still not reading anything. Why are you not reading? Oh, there you go, 24k. So that should drop down to 0 now, basically. Yeah, 0. Okay, so if we send you off, clear that, send you to pick up. You're not going anywhere. Why are you not going anywhere? Because none of the pickups have anything. Oh. Oh. Okay. What we could do instead then is send you to fuel. And you'll kind of sort your own life out. Why is that not going through anyway though? That's on a... Why is that on a red? There's no... There is a signal there. Oh, because this is here. Why is this here? Because it's not fully emptied. Right. Oh, it'll be the same thing. When I've been replacing these, I've obviously not put the green wires back on. Why would it have lost the green wires? That's a bit weird, isn't it? And all of these should be storage chests. That's got green wires. So is that. That has now, I think, doesn't it? So have you gone down to 0? Yeah, so we can do the same thing, send you to the depot. You're just going to sit there, aren't you? Because... Not drop off. Okay. And what are you? You're plastic. Is that the same issue? I think it is. I wonder how they've lost the... Say the same with the blue circuits there. I bet I did it manually, didn't realise, and then sort of copied and pasted the thing over. The problem, yeah, it's got the wrong filter. Just make sure they're all on. That's fine. Those aren't even storages anyway. Okay, so you're supposed to be solar panels. You are then. Okay. Hey, with oops, I'll definitely give it a go. So the demo is really the thing to give it a go, because it is a nice, generous demo. It does have quite a lot of stuff in it, you know, that gives you a good flavour for the game. And random inserter, and all them engines. Lets you decide basically, and if it's not for you, you know, then you've enough in the demo, I think, to work that out. If it is for you, and it also gives you that practice to learn about how, you know, learn to design things and that whole part of the game. No, you're not gonna. Okay. So yeah, best thing to do, I think. So that's all the green circuits. Those batteries are fine. Sulfur. Still not replaced them. Okay. Unless I have green circuits on top. Okay. Where are you trying to get to? You're trying to get to there. Yeah. Take that out. Send you to the depot. What else? What else we got waiting here that we don't need waiting? Yeah, so it's now 0. So bosh, bosh. And then steel. I bet it's the same. Yeah, no trains being requested, so we will cancel that. Go to there. I think we've got something waiting here, haven't we? Yeah. Oh, crikey! Three stone brake trains, and we don't need any. No. Go like that. Go to the depot. Once at the depot, they'll do what they need to do, basically. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, because I corrected the wrong train. So we need to take that out. Go to depot. Yeah. I think we might have to drive you manually. Let's get you up here. Let's, so, and then let's pop you onto auto. You're at the station properly now. Send you to the depot. Okay, so we've got no trains queued up, which makes sense because we're not doing any military stuff. Excellent. That should mean that... Oh, no. Oh, I didn't exit it, did I? There we go. No, I thought a red circuit train might have come. One reason for that might be a lack of red circuit trains. We have 3 in the group. You're at the drop-off. Ah, there you go. You're heading to pick up. Okay. Is there stuff? 3.2, not enough to fill a train. I never upgraded these, did I? Oh, I did put in the things, but I haven't upgraded the belt. So half these machines aren't doing anything. Okay, let's go with out there. Like that. That. And that. And there. There. That. Oops. That needs to be red belt to there. How many hours do you have in the game? I think it's about 4,000. I can have a look. 4,400.4 hours on Steam. There's quite a lot that I've played before it. I had the Steam version. Well, I had so I used to play it at work. I shouldn't say that, should I? But I've left that job ages ago. I don't do that now because I've got a job that's interesting. But yeah, I used to play at work, and so all of that was done offline, basically. So I would guess it's probably more like 4,600, maybe, something like that. I can't confess to being entirely happy with that. It's a lot of hours. Imagine what I could have been doing. But yeah, about 4,600. I'm a bit unusual. A lot of that as well. I mean, I So very first sort of streaming series I did was, I think that wants to be a bit further up, doesn't it? Was me making my first mega base. This is effectively my second mega base. Old school, numbers. I never really was all that interested. It's one thing so. Oh, you're on YouTube. So obviously the YouTube channel has like proper videos on it as well. I used to do like Friday Facts analysis, basically. That was kind of my thing while they were doing those for Space Age. Yeah, I've been kind of, because obviously that stopped. There are no Friday Facts videos anymore. And one of the things I replaced it with is a speculation series about the law. One of those is live for regular viewers, and the second one is live for members. There's memberships available if you want early access to that stuff. And one of the videos I've got written but not recorded and stuff yet is me sort of giving an honest. Well, what it's about is the end game basically for Space Age, because I don't think I'm entirely, in a sense, happy with the end game for Space Age. In the sense that all it is number goes up. That is the end. It was. I mean, you were always. That was when people did mega bases. That was basically what they were doing, but they were doing that because they decided they wanted to do that. You won the game by launching the rocket, and so anything after that, was up to you. Now, number goes up, so bigger and bigger science number is like the codified end of the game. There is no purpose in number goes up other than number goes up. And for me, that's not the most interesting thing about the game. So I was a bit disappointed, if I'm totally honest, about the fact that it's literally just get Prometheum, make science that makes more science, and that's it. So I have a video coming. It will not be out for months, because it's one of the end ones in that, or later ones in that series. Basically saying the things I would have preferred them to put in as the ending. So I won't spoil that side of it, but yeah, I can't even remember what the point I was making there. But basically, yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I don't love Space Age in the way that I love Base Factorio, I think. Whether I will ever get there, alright, probably will eventually, but why I'm doing this series, the other part of it, is that they made so many changes to the base game and improvements and tweaks and stuff that I think for me they got a bit lost in the noise of all the new planets and all the new mechanics. And that's what I always preferred to do. So it's like, that was the point I was going for. Basically, that I essentially explore something different each time. So, like half of my hours now, since I started streaming, I've done Crash Storio 2, Bob's, Angels, gave space exploration a little bit of a go. And so those were a lot more fun for me from the point of view, just, new thing to learn. And obviously Space Age has that in it, but I kind of want to take it steady, and I kind of want to learn all the new things in 2.0 first, and then we'll kind of go back to Space Age. And that's why I have so many hours, basically, because, I did entire runs, not deliberately, but because it was too much for me, in a sense, where I didn't play with modules. I just built my entire factory without modules, but not as some challenge or what have you, just because I wanted to understand how things worked, how you played it, and then think about, this is how modules change it, how beacons change it, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's why it's such a big number, basically. as well as some various, I don't know what they are, autism or whatever, traits as it were, where I get a bit obsessed with things and what have you. Another game that does that for me is the Anno games. They put out a gameplay trailer for Anno 117, which is the next one in that series. When that comes out, I may well end up just playing that, basically. So, I appear to be dropping off stone when what I should be dropping off is stone brick. This is very unfortunate, because clearing this out is going to be a problem. Oh dear. Okay, so we need to swap this. It's because I just copied and pasted it, didn't it? Didn't I, like an idiot? So we need to swap that. We need to swap that. And then we need to make these active providers so that the bots will clear out my mistakes. That one doesn't reach, so I'll have to stick a thing in there. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Then we can go down the end here. And do that. But if we filter that to stone, well, the bots are going to be busy, I'll say that much. Okay. We still haven't got any red circuits. We can actually filter those to stone brick, couldn't we? Guess this is why old Cobrex uses filtered inserters and everything. Okay, so yeah, there's any steel's coming finally. Still waiting in a few belts. Still no red circuits there. I guess it's probably backed up, hasn't it? As in all sorts of requests have not been fulfilled. Because the trains will have been sat. No schedule. Waiting at drop off. Heading to drop off. Which drop off? This drop off? Not this drop off. Circuits drop off. Okay. Yeah, you see it's eaten through all of that. And green circuits too. Nuts. I mean, these are nowhere near what we need. Yeah, these do not have the capacity. I could go blue belt on it. It should function. Why are there no beacons there? But yeah, we can upgrade that. But we need like several circuit builds. It's kind of enough to, you know, make it function, if you see what I mean. So, waiting on red circuits. Okay, fine. That's fine. I just realised with these, they'll take out the stone brick as well, won't they? So what we actually probably want is for it to be just whatever, basically. And then the other machine, the other inserter will kind of take care of the problem for us. Cool. Okay. So that should be 2,400 purple science per minute. We have, in quotes, because obviously it's going to take a while for the red circuits to appear, but we have production of electric furnaces. So we can go and tick that box. What we don't have is like the separate production of rail. But to do that, we can just stick it on the end. Side effect speculations, indeed. Yeah, so we can just literally add on an extra machine here. Because there will be some left over. Should be anyway. Do that. Turn that into a storage chest. And then set this Why does that show 0? Oh no, it's the wrong way around. So I guess maybe we'll make that 2,000. So we've got nice big rail capacity. So yeah, whatever's left. Gets to the end here. On all 4. Cool. So that gets us the rail. So we've got to make all the rest of this stuff now. Okay. I mean, they need sticks, don't they? So these all need, because it needs steel sticks. Okay. Because we've got steel there, I've got iron plate. Okay. So I'm wondering about doing, we could use this sort of convenient area here to like build everything else, because these are just one machine builds basically, so there's nothing huge volumes going on. A production, and most of the stuff, you know, it's like it'll build 100 of them and just sit there then until I expand oil refining. So although they'll be stealing from Purple Science, it'll be like very occasional, and if I'm expanding, it's presumably because I need more science. Okay, so what would we be taking there then? So we would do, these are all need iron plate and green circuits, don't they? That needs that engines, okay. So of these, we haven't got concrete. Haven't got concrete, engines, or prod module 1, but everything else we have some of. Okay, so how many slots have we got left? We got them. That's a stone brick. Okay. And that's red circuit, isn't it? There, yeah. So we could maybe put in the extras that we need here. And those were green circuits. Just the one of those. They will never arrive before the end of the stream. And engines was one. What else? We had the level 1 speeds and concrete. Okay. Level 1 speeds. Let's do the concrete first. And then put level 1 speeds there. We do not have a train level 1 speeds. I also probably don't want to belt them. I love that you can do all this stuff now. It's weird actually, remote building, you know, from the map, is actually slightly more powerful than hand building. Because there's certain things you can't do, or you can only really do when you're in map view, particularly around the modules. So I literally put a theory. So one of the first law speculation video I was doing was what I think the engineer is, and my conclusion was, just to spoil the video, was well, no, I won't say. My conclusion was one thing, and someone put a comment under the video, and initially I was like, oh yeah, but that doesn't work for, you know, these reasons. And the more I thought about it, actually it works better than my theory. So I've already written a follow-up video basically exploring their theory, which is that the engineer is some sort of, effectively, I mean, I've sort of tweaked it, but it's the Thing, essentially, from the movie The Thing, and John Carpenter, obviously based on the book and the previous film. But it's basically, you know, a biomass is what they called it. But their idea essentially was that, like, well, they were only talking about labs, and this is where I've extended it, but that the labs work, and the reason you can set technology completely independently of where you are, you don't have to go to you don't go to a lab, click on a lab and set the technology. You do it via this other screen, and obviously that's just a gameplay thing. But you know, so I can't set the technology here. I can actually by clicking. I didn't know you could do that. Huh. But yeah, you've got this separate thing, and their sort of idea was that there's actually a copy, there's a clone of the engineer in the lab doing the research, basically. And so my sort of theory now is that there's a clone of the engineer, or a part of the engineer, in every single machine, and that's why you can set, when you're on the map view, he's like sending a signal to, you know, this assembler over here, sort of thing, mentally, you know, telepathy, to say, right, change the recipe or put a module slot in or what have you. But yeah, it's quite an interesting. We have a train without fuel. Good-o. Yeah, it's quite an interesting idea. That happens because sometimes when they feel like the blueprint for them doesn't have fuel in it, basically, which it should, and so sometimes they go here, basically. Now these guys won't pick up or do anything because they're not empty, but also they're not full, and this only triggers when they're full because it's poorly written. Because it should just be like has cargo or something. So that's another thing I need to kind of tweak, really. This is kind of what I'm saying. It's like there's so much in this that they've changed and done differently that I don't fully understand how everything works now. Okay, what we want to do then is kind of maybe take all of these and fiddle about with some stuff down the bottom here. I think, so if we were to say, maybe if I connect it like this. Hello, Banker Magician. Welcome, welcome. What's up, Drizzy? Welcome. How you doing? I decided I'd be bored if it weren't a normal run, so I'm doing 600% Death World. Like you do. The tank has come through for me. When you say 600%, is that referring to biters, or is that... Another thing I've never done, you know, like I say, I've got thousands of hours. But I've never done a death world because I don't know. I just thought when I'm doing defences and stuff, I prefer like building pretty defences, as you'll have seen on some of my videos, I'm sure. I go a bit nuts with designing them, and I can't imagine you've got the time to build something like that, like Death World. You just have to spam down flamethrower turrets, I think, don't you? But is the 600% the cost, or the or like the number of biters, as it were? Because you keep replaying, don't you, Bacon Magician? You're not someone who just sticks with the one base and makes it do 10 million science sort of thing. I say that because it was a topic of conversation, I think. Or at least I was prattling on about it. I don't think anyone else was really caring. The tank equipment grid is a lovely change. It's faster and has shields. Yeah, I saw someone showing that. It was on Reddit, I think. They're basically saying that if you stick in, is it 4 that you can fit into a tank? I'm not actually sure what my tank is. It's retired now. But if you put in, can you fit 4 in? You could, but you couldn't put in a nuclear thing. So you could put, oh no, you can fit 4 in. But because the tank has like it doesn't have like a braking force research, so it only slows down still at the old rate, and that they kind of basically like driven through half of their entire factory with the tank because they couldn't slow down. Which sounds like a very Factorio thing to happen, really. Okay, I don't know why I've got 40 chemical labs on me. I was hoping the bots would come and restock me a bit. Guess we could bring the spiders over. My map is walled off. Yeah, it's all flamers. Gun turrets can actually keep up, but the resource cost is too high. I think even after the red ammo change. Okay. Oops. I've tried big number bases. I have a 10k science per minute base cooking. It's got red, green, grey, blue and orange. Okay, so a 4 million science per minute. Research count, not science bottles. It's all belts. Oh, really? Crikey. I know Wycovax doesn't want wagons to have quality. They desperately need them to compete. Yeah, yeah. Has he actually said that he doesn't want it to have things? Some of it, I don't know. It's sort of like, I said this, about when I was like following the land party. I think got a bit misunderstood. There's an element to so obviously, it's the owner, is the, game director, is whatever you want to call them. And the kind of point I'd made was that it's like his game in a sense. But that's what you would expect from a game director. That's what game director should be, as it were. It's the person who, owns the game in the sense that they're responsible for the decisions. And I think I'd given the impression when I said it that like everything comes from him, and it's not. It's more like if people have ideas, then he's the one who's going to decide. Yeah, that's what we're going to do, or what we're not going to do. And a lot of stuff he kind of doesn't care about. He's not actually fussed about certain parts of the game because he doesn't particularly play with them. But he's not against them. He doesn't block them. He's not sat there going, "No, we're not doing this." If he doesn't really care, I say some things he does. If he doesn't really care, then he didn't block stuff. He's like, you want to put, change the fluids. Okay, great, but it's got to work. You can't just stick it in and it's broken. What are you meant? You're meant. Oh, I didn't build the train, did I? So yeah, I don't know if he has specifically said he doesn't want boosted cargo wagons, or it's just that none of them have kind of thought of how to a way to do it effectively. I don't know. It does seem a glaring omission. I said this before. I wish quality had a lot more of those types of things in. I mean, some of the stuff would get difficult and annoying to balance, I'm sure. Like, for example, legendary quality belt having higher throughput would kind of break the game. Well, you'd end up something silly like a legendary yellow belt could move like a green belt's worth of stuff. And so, it'd get very, very weird and confusing, I think. So I can understand why some stuff is limited to, just a health boost. But like trains should be faster and or more fuel efficient, or artillery wagons should have a bigger, number of shells that they can hold, and I don't know what you do with a lot of things like signals and stuff, but yeah, there should be a lot more of that stuff. What am I looking for? I'm looking for prod 1 speed. That's level 1 speeds. Okay. And these green circuits have not arrived yet because we have 8 trains and their pickup simply doesn't have the production capacity, as expected. Okay. Let's stick these on these belts here then. So that would be green circuits. Do I really want to put engines on a belt? What machines are we talking about here? Need engines? Is it just one? Because lots of them need like circuits and stuff like that. Stone bricks and blah-de-blah. What actually uses engines here? Why am I bringing engines in? It's the trains, isn't it? And that's it. Yeah. So we don't really want to put trains on engines on a belt. So I don't know if Kodrix has said he doesn't want wagons for quality, but it's his game and everything else has quality. Even chests do now. I think you can build quality wagons, can't you? I don't think they're blocked from being built. They just don't do anything other than have more health, I think. Is that right? This is the type of thing that, as I say, for me, there's an element to it of it's like been too much. Space Age, there's like too many things in there, and my poor little brain just can't cope. Oops. I don't know about that change. The whole like mass undo that it does as the default. I don't know if you can turn that off. I don't think I like that. I get it, I could see, being able to do under a load at once, but I don't know, maybe there's a key you can hold Alt or something to get it just to do one. What we're going to build first then? Let's see. I think it probably needs to be these more complicated multi-recipe things. Multi-item things at this end. Because that's where like the circuits and stuff are. These guys probably, because steel comes in here, doesn't it? Yeah, so we've got plenty of room for that. But these could be more towards that end. It would make sense for those to be as well. Storage tanks, I guess I'm going to make them right here, yeah. So maybe those are in the middle somewhere. But these are pretty simple recipes. Those two anyway. And that should be, if we can, at the end. So maybe some order like this, maybe? So, the common bits you've got there are those. But then that needs the... So concrete I'm going to get the bots to bring. But these all need gears. The first two need pipe. So gears. circuits we're going to bring up. I guess we could half belt... No, yeah, half belt both of those, maybe. Because that's the only concrete needer, isn't it? But it needs a lot? Yeah, 100. Okay. Gears and steel. They both need steel. But that needs stone brick. Okay. Should I use these? Yeah, go on then. Is the based more around a sort of a bot based production thing, really? But let's put it down. So if that is refinery, and that's chemical plant. Does that work? In fact, if I do it more like 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. That's a refinery again, you idiot. Chemical plant, 1, 2, 3, 4. There. And then we can make that. Oh. And oops, that. No, we're in the wrong place. So that. Yeah. So they need iron. Iron, any old iron. Oh. No power. So that gets them both of those and those. And this obviously doesn't need the pipes, but it's fine. They do also have the requesty thing. Do we need that, really? Not for that one. What about you? You do, but not everything. We don't really need the steel gears. It's just the concrete, isn't it? But that tells me 1,000 concretes is what you probably need. So we get rid of that. We lift with that. A lot of these won't make anything because the machines are already in the system basically. Okay. So do we want the? No, I don't think we do want a priority on it because we do want it to just leech off some pipes and gears and stuff. But yeah, we then need green circuits. So this one needs stone brick. I think it's the only thing here that does, because that's concrete, isn't it? Yeah. So that doesn't need stone brick, does it? No. No. Cool. So in that case, we can. What is it? Because it's the. Oh, I didn't move that, did I? The only thing. Stone brick, okay. So I can kind of maybe fudge a bit of stone brick. In fact, we don't really need that to be red. Where are we stone brick? They're right there. They're right there. So how about, in the finest traditions of spaghetti, we do that? I don't know why I'm putting green things on there. I do lament that the crafting complexity on each new planet is a bit low. The devs focus on making it about logistical complexity, which is good because that's what half the game is about. I do wish the space platforms had more advanced options like trains do. Yeah, that would be like #1 wish list for me. Is literally do. So I'm wondering about some of these numbers as well, because we kind of want to have a nice big stockpile of a lot of stuff, really, rather than the lower numbers. And that's silly. We don't really need that many. But concrete. Didn't I put it on a belt though, didn't I? So I don't really need that to be a circuit request. No. And what we could do here. Because everything, all three of these need green circuits and steel. Green circuits and steel. Well, steel and red circuits. Okay. So I can kind of loop this background. I always found bots difficult to like. I just prefer belts. It's just like I don't know, it's almost like instinctual of just like right belt, 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 belt. I rarely, reach for bots. It's like it's a great. I mean, old Gleber is probably the only example of where I've deliberately set out to make a bot-based thing, and that was rubbish. kept log jamming, just jamming up basically. So yeah, this needs to be steel, which we can steal from over here. I guess actually what I could do, thinking about it, is steal it from here. There's movement because there's red circuits. We do that, and then make it more prettier. Then green circuits. You need to be going to that one. So have you got there? If I bring iron plate over, I can do most of these as well, can't I? Not them. So if we were to put these, say, what about you? You would need steel. Yeah. But iron plate, like, in two forms. Green circuits, yeah. So if we do, like, that. There's my iron plate. And take like a second. This didn't need to be. It needs to be red belt further down because of the distance, but no, it's too far. Too far. So if we then take a second one here. Oops. D. And then these, and that one, in fact, can go on there. So we've already made them. So it won't make any because we've already got so many knocking about. I need to delete the old machines, basically. But it's filled up with a bit of everything that it wants, so it has access. You don't have red circuits. They're right there. Okay. That's too far. Okay. Let's go. Like that. Like that. These are meant to be like thematic bases. You know, this is the base that makes, you know, purple, and therefore it makes the production science type stuff. Or the producing machines. That's kind of why I'm rebuilding all these. They obviously needed upgraded anyway from the old original base. As I say, I tend to find bot things like difficult to build. As in, they don't kind of leap out to me, as it were, as a solution. So I kind of figure, let's go belts as well. So we want the rail signals, the train signals, the train stops. And we want to get rid of our requesters. Probably right with 20 of them, I would have thought. Is 100 of them enough? Yeah. Maybe 200 of them, though. And then some power. And then some... Oh. Okay, well, put power there then. They're not fussy. That. Oops, that. And then... Oh, it needs steel. That's annoying. It's already got iron plate, though. Let's put one of them in like that. Although actually the the sticks can just fit on the end, can't they? Like so. Cool. Have a good one, nice seeing you. Yeah, thank you for gonna pop out combat time. No worries. Thanks for joining me again, Make Magician. Always good to see you. Give the biters hell. Yeah, cool. Like that. What have we got left? We got machines. We got them. Oh, they need pipes and things as well. Huh. Steel, pipes, gears, and green circuits. So it's the same stuff again. You're not doing very well, are you? Let's get some. Oops. Extra sort of production power going on. It's occasionally running out of them, but then it's fine. I've only got 17 centrifuge. I bet I've got a load of them, have I? Yeah. That's when I was messing about. We don't need these at all. My builder Spidertrons have the same request. So when I request 50, you know, extra centrifuges, it's actually 150 that's being requested. because there's two of them with the, two of them with the production thing as well. So we should certainly see when they eventually get somewhere that number suddenly pings up to 160 odd. Cool. But yes, what we can do is... That's too far. It's too far. It's a belt too far. No. And then... Because if you're iron doody-doodies... I wonder if I can maybe underground that one. So it gets iron plate. That doesn't need iron plate, but that one does. So can we tack these two on the end, basically? Because if we do that one there, so that would be pump jacks. And it needs steel. In fact, do that even. That's suitably horribly messy, I like it. And then, so that's that one done. And then, is it? Surely it needs a green circuit. Yeah, it needs a green circuit, doesn't it? Pipes, green circuit, steel. And then you... If we put... one... So if we make this a gear machine... Green circuits, iron plates. Doesn't have the iron plates, okay, so we'll move it one over. Like so. Gears, and it's green circuits as well. Easy. And let's use that, because it does at least have settings on it. So it would be... Where's your mining drills? Ue es la mining... There they are. Get rid of the circuit part of it. Now, that one probably wants to be a nice big number. Like, big number. Because when we expand, we will expand. 40 of them. Is that a sensible amount? Because if we do say this patch next, it's got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, somewhere around 30. I do have another one tagged, and that's that one. How many's that got? So that's 3, 6, like 8, 10, 13, 15. Yeah, so 20-ish type patches. There is someone over here. We go. How many have you got? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 10. Again, somewhere in the 30s. Okay. So, the other reason, I didn't say this at the beginning. The other reason for covering so much was I kept not finding copper, because copper seems to be a bit weirdly rare around here. Obviously, I have now. I mean, these are all tiny little bits of patches left, but the patches that it was giving me are like tiny, basically, or I don't know what's happened there. So yeah, I was struggling to find copper, was the other thing. So I explored so much. But yeah, that needs to be 400, that's fine. I think we will boost that up to, say, 60. Because if we want to do 2 oil patches at once. Okay. Perfect. We will leave them for later. I think instead we will look at trainy things, because we're talking iron, steel, gear wheels, iron. Sorry, irony bits and steel, and irony bits and steel. So if we maybe, and then you're similar but also green circuits. Cool. Let's say maybe if that was first, because we need to make these as well anyway. And then if it puts them into that machine, so if we do a little bit of a gap like that, and then wagons, they're saying they both need, well, that needs gears and pipes, doesn't it? That one doesn't. You need gears. You don't need gears. Okay. So if one of them needs pipes, and that needs iron plates as well. Does that need iron? No iron plates there, but iron plates there. So if that one's making gears, and then would that work? It would, but it wouldn't give me access. Okay, why don't we move this down? And then you can be in line. And you can be like on the side. So we'll have, oops, iron plate coming down there. Feeding up and down. And then pipes there. Feeding across. Actually put that there maybe. Iron, iron plate, tank gears, storage tanks. So we need, no, yeah, that's fine. So put that like that. Get rid of the logic stuff. But we don't want this to limit based on logistics, do we? We want a circuit networking. And we want it to always make enough for there to be 100 in this chesticle. And then that chesticle feeds its tanks into there. Yeah. Again. I really need to change this storage chest thing. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. No, sir. I don't like it. Okay. Cargo wagons. Like that. And might as well put the trains on the end. So I plot that down, and then, you know, did this thing anyway, and took it all up. I need to rethink some of these designs. Let's put that there. I'm doing it basically because it sets the limit on them, and then I come in and edit the limit. So let's put that up to 20 trains. And it needs to be more, doesn't it? Because if we go 20 wagons, I'm doing 111s, so we need 40 locomotives. That's a lot of locomotives. And actually I do want that request. Dang, okay. Because that's how we're going to get the engines over. So we put that there. And then I need to edit this so that it's... Let's make that the 40. And then let's make that 200. 200. Oh, it's 7 o'clock. Crikey. I get carried away again. 7 o'clock is when I end. Let's get rid of that. Let's just finish off this trainy bit first, make it work. Okay, so we need to bring steel up as well. This needs to be the iron plates. Cool, cool, cool. Do you need iron plate? Yes, you do. Why didn't you say so? That'll make gears. So yeah, we just need the steel. Finest British steel. Just steal a bit there. Have we made any purple? No, not made any purple science. Brilliant. Why not? Because these belts are too polluted. Okay. Surely we would have made some from before. Surely. Why are you not doing anything? 500. Oh, we got 500 furnaces. 100, 200. Oh, I guess there's 100 in another thing, isn't it? Crikey. This has got to be purple science now. Yay! Did we make any? Oh, we did. Okay. Oh, loads of them. Okay. Nice. 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 Yes, so, 7 o'clock, usually when I knock it on the head. Do-do-do. We've not made any of them, because I didn't connect the steel. Not made any of them, because I didn't connect the steel. Not made any of them, because I didn't connect the steel. And steel there too. Do we want to take another line for... Yeah, go on. Let's grab these green circuits. Take them up to there. Nice. $40 of them, 20 of them. Does that have a limit? It didn't have a limit, that one, because I didn't build it from the thing, did I? So we want to go... Let's do 10. Cool. Does this have a limit? That does. 100 tanks. Do I really want 100 tanks? That's the sort of stuff I should be parameterizing, but I keep forgetting to do the thing. So all we've got left, and I would almost certainly do this between streams, is the actual assembly machines. It's a bit more complicated, because obviously got all sorts of interesting things, and it's slightly different kind of ratio to it, in that that's 2 to 1, so you need 2 of them, but then that's 1 to 1. Is that right? So you need 5 assembly machine, 2s rather, and it only makes 2.5. So effectively, we need that, and we need to make a load of gears to support them. Cool. I will probably do that by. Oh no, I don't have another train, do I? That's annoying. We've not brought any level 1 speed modules. Why not? Because I never set up the train. Okay, let's just do that as our very last thing. Yes, I stream every weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Oh, and I stream on Saturday. At the moment, I'm streaming Victoria. I tried to stream Factorio, like, I'll always be streaming Factorio, basically. That's your mantra. Always be streaming Factorio. And I can show you my schedule now. Press the button. There we go. Yes, so 4 o'clock Saturday is Factorio. We are continuing this Not Space Age series, this parameterization series. I'll try and leave Gold Science. I'll try not to get carried away again and leave Gold Science for next week. Then it'd probably be Space Science after that. At that point, we are in the territory of making a 2,400 science per minute old school megabase. And so there'll be loads and loads and loads of trains flying about the network. And what I'll try and do is things like the biter clearance to get the patches and make more green circuits and that sort of thing. I'll try to focus on doing that between streams rather than the builds. Once we've got that, that's where I need to get into the territory of having a really big network and trying to genericize it. That's the thing I want to achieve. But I want it to be a stress test as well. I've been really impressed with my simple blueprints I did. Really, really enjoyed doing it that way because they're like chunker line things, which I didn't think I'd ever like, but I really enjoyed building the train network in that way. And yeah, they've been working really well, apart from the stacker that I got the positioning wrong. But yeah, so I haven't felt I've needed to change that, but what I do need to do, I want to do like a generic, or try a generic pick up anything, drop off anything system, which I'm pretty sure I know how to do. The bit that I want to do is to make it smart, so to make it so that it'll only go and pick up copper ore if it needs copper ore, not just that the station is open or what have you, that it's doing something to say, right, now we need copper ore sort of thing. And that then opens the actual, the pickup station for copper ore. Because at the moment, all the pickup stations are just open. So if there's a slot, a generic train would go and just pick up. So that's what I want to try to get to. I'm not sure I'm clever enough to do that sort of thing. But yeah, that's what we're trying to get to. And I also need to look at, say, doing some bigger parameterized blueprints so that they're, we can build, say, engines, and other things with the same blueprint. So what effectively it would be like is things that require 1 material drop-offs, things that require 2 material drop-offs, 3 material drop-offs, and that that's just like a template I can stamp down and just tell it, right, make things. The bit that I've struggled with is because you can do it so that it will cascade the recipe. So if it is engines, then it'll also make iron gear wheels and pipes. If you tell it, you tell it engines, and it works out what is the subcomponents. I've not quite got my head around that bit yet. So yes, so that's all to come on this series. Tomorrow we'll be picking up again with Satisfactory. Thank you, Snicks, for dropping by, and Stan, have a good one as well. Thanks for dropping in. Yes, tomorrow we'll be back same time with Satisfactory. I am still struggling with it. I don't really have a plan for how I'm kind of going to get over the hump. I just don't quite know what to do. My only thought at the moment is to maybe go to a different part of the map, say the desert, and build a factory there again, because that's what I did last time. But it means doing a lot of work on blueprints, I think, to make that an easier process, which would be good for me, I guess, because that seems to be the missing bit. But what I'm at is I've got 2 tiers left for the space elevator, and I need to do all the techs for those tiers, basically, because you can't make the next space elevator parts without doing a bunch of researches. And my factory is just not designed to produce things at the volume that some of those need. It's making 2 of the reinforced iron frames per minute or something, which is it's more than that, but it's tiny basically. And so I mean, I could just switch it on and just leave it, and then we'll come, on the stream I'll have enough stuff stocked up. I could do that, I guess. Difficulty with that is that my plastic production is unused, basically. Not plastic, rubber production is unused, so it just builds up in a chest and causes my power to turn off. So yeah, so I need to think how I'm going to do all of that, basically. Cool. So the other thing, if you are new here, if you've been watching along, you can watch on either Twitch or YouTube if you have a preferred platform. I'm on both because I use Restream. YouTube has all the VODs for all of the various series I've done, loads of them, loads of Factorio, a couple of Satisfactories now, Does Sphere Program, Tectonica, so all sorts of building and management games, as well as videos on YouTube. I am currently doing a law speculation series. I have scripts written for all sorts of like tutorials and all sorts of stuff. The difficult bit is the filming it and editing it. That takes the time. When people become YouTubers, the first thing they get is an editor, because even if they do simple edits and stuff, it takes time, so I don't have any of that. I just do it myself. It's a bit of fun hobby. There are memberships as well on YouTube. That gets you early access to the videos. That's all it kind of gets you at the moment. There are now a couple of member exclusive videos. There's like a bloopers one, effectively, or an outtakes one, and the original version of the next speculation video, which is coming up, where I made a mess up, basically. So the original version is a members exclusive now. That will come out on June the 16th, might be June the 13th, basically in a couple of weeks' time. And I'm planning on doing one of those per month if I can. You can also follow me on Blue Sky. It's the only social I really am active on, and I generally just post when I'm going live and the occasional random thought, basically. I don't use Twitter at all, but you can follow me there, and Discord. Again, I have one, but I'm particularly active on that. So yes, so that's all about me, all my self-promo stuff. Was there anything else? No, it is a bank holiday Monday, but I'm not going to be doing a special stream. Like I decided, I will focus on doing the videos. Yeah, and we'll be keeping going now right up until towards the end of June, when I'll have another short break, basically. Cool. So all it remains for me to say is, if you have been watching, I hope you've enjoyed it, and you might consider coming back for another one. I've been Trismegistus. This has been Factorio. Thanks for watching. Cheers.